The observation deck hummed with the usual chatter of a dozen species, but Kalara's eyes remained fixed on the viewport. Beyond the reinforced glass, Earth hung like a blue marble against the void, beautiful, distant, and forever out of reach. "You're doing it again," Bo said softly, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. His reflection in the glass looked as worn as she felt. Kalara didn't turn. "Doing what?" "Torturing yourself." She finally looked at him, her eyes red-rimmed. "It's been 3 cycles, Bo. 3 cycles since—" Her voice broke. The Galactic Council had been clear. Humans were to be relocated to colony ships, scattered across the outer rim. Earth was too valuable, too resource-rich, to remain in the hands of a single species. The evacuation had been swift, methodical, and utterly devastating. Families torn apart by lottery systems, children separated from parents by bureaucratic errors that were never corrected, and some, like theirs, simply lost in the chaos. Bo pulled Kalara close, feeling her shoulders shake. They stood like that for a long time, 2 humans clinging to each other in a universe that had proven itself indifferent to their grief. The assignment came through their neural implants simultaneously. Diplomatic posting, Vexaris Prime. A world of the Krell, a reptilian species known for their fierce territorial nature and their unusual social structure centered around communal child-rearing. "We don't have to take it," Bo said, reviewing the details. "We can request something else, something easier." But Kalara was already reading the cultural briefing. Her jaw set in that determined way Bo had learned meant her mind was made up. "No, we take it. We keep moving forward. It's what she would have wanted." Bo didn't argue. Moving forward was all they had left. Vexaris Prime was a world of rust-red canyons and crystalline spires. The Krell settlements sprawled across the landscape like organic growths, their architecture favoring communal spaces over individual dwellings. Kalara and Bo were given quarters in the diplomatic sector, a small apartment that felt cavernous in its emptiness. The nursery had been prepared as per standard diplomatic protocol. Every species had their requirements, and humans, the Council noted with bureaucratic precision, often brought offspring to postings. Kalara stood in the doorway, staring at the empty crib. Standard issue. Temperature regulated. Safe and sterile and utterly devastatingly empty. She closed the door and didn't open it again. The Krell were initially wary of the human diplomats. Their leader, Thraka, was a scarred veteran whose scales bore the marks of countless territorial disputes. But Krell politics required human mediation for a trade agreement with the Centauri Collective, and so they tolerated the soft-skinned newcomers. "Your species is weak," Thraka observed during their first meeting, not unkindly. "You have no scales, no claws, no venom. How did you survive your evolution?" Bo smiled tightly. "Stubbornness, mostly." But it was Kalara who caught Thraka's attention. During negotiations, she never backed down, never showed the fear that other species displayed when confronted with Krell aggression. She argued with logic, with passion, and with a fierce determination that reminded Thraka of his own people. "You fight like a mother protecting her nest," Thraka said after one particularly heated session. "Do you have hatchlings, Kalara human?" The question hit like a physical blow. Bo tensed, ready to intervene, but Kalara straightened her spine. "No," she said simply. "Not anymore." Thraka's inner eyelids flickered, a gesture of respect among his people. He asked no further questions. It started small. A carved wooden toy left outside their quarters. Then another, and another. "The cubs are doing it," Bo discovered, catching a glimpse of small Krell scurrying away from their door. "They're leaving gifts." Kalara picked up the latest offering, a smooth stone painted with intricate patterns. "Why?" The answer came from Thraka himself, who visited their quarters for tea, a human custom he found peculiar but was willing to endure for diplomacy's sake. "The cubs sense your grief," he explained, his massive form somehow gentle in their small living space. "In our culture, when a nest is empty, the community fills it. They are young, but they understand loss. We all do." Kalara's hands trembled around her cup. "I don't understand. Last season, a fire took 17 nests. Many parents lost their young. Many young lost their parents. We, Krell, we do not suffer alone. The orphaned cubs were distributed among all families. Every adult became a parent. Every child gained many guardians." Thraka gestured to the pile of toys accumulating by their door. "The cubs see your empty nest. They wish to fill it." That night, Kalara opened the nursery door for the first time in weeks. The empty crib stood in the center, a monument to absence. She picked up one of the carved toys, a small figurine of a Krell warrior, and placed it gently inside. Bo found her there an hour later, surrounded by the gifts the cubs had left. Toys, stones, drawings scratched on bark, each one a tiny act of compassion from children who barely reached a human's waist. "We can't replace her," Kalara whispered. "I don't want to replace her." "I know," Bo said, sitting beside her on the floor. "But maybe we don't have to be alone in remembering." The transformation happened gradually. Kalara and Bo began acknowledging the cubs when they saw them, learning their names, their clan markers. The toys kept coming, and the nursery began to fill, not with their child, but with the love of others who understood that grief was not meant to be borne in isolation. One morning, they found a small Krell cub asleep on their doorstep, curled around a blanket she had dragged from her own nest. When they tried to wake her, she simply looked up with enormous golden eyes and said, "Your nest was cold. I brought warmth." Thraka arrived moments later, somewhat embarrassed. "That's my youngest. She has no sense of boundaries." But Kalara was already lifting the cub, who weighed considerably more than a human child, but seemed to fit perfectly against her chest. "It's okay," she said, and for the first time in cycles, she meant it. The human looked at the crib, no longer empty. It overflowed with toys, blankets, and the chaotic love of an entire Krell community that had decided these grieving strangers were worth protecting. And slowly, piece by piece, the broken parts of Kalara and Bo began to heal, not replaced, not forgotten, but carefully mended by tiny clawed hands that understood one universal truth. No one should grieve alone. Not even humans who had lost everything. The galaxy could take their world, their daughter, their past. But it couldn't take their capacity to love again, to be part of something larger than their pain. That, the Krell cubs had shown them, was the most human thing of all.